When my husband told me our company was just having a cash flow problem, I believed him with my whole heart. Days later, I was staring at secret bank transfers worth millions to a woman I'd never heard of. That's when I realized marriage was like our hotel business, a beautiful facade hiding dirty little secrets in the back rooms. If you're watching this, hit that subscribe button and tell me where you're from. Because trust me, this story is about to twist harder than a roller coaster at Six Flags, and you don't want to miss what happens when a woman with nothing left to lose decides to fight back. My name is Sarah Monroe. 3 weeks ago, I had it all. A loving husband, a thriving chain of boutique hotels along the California coast, and a reputation as one of LA's power couples. Today, I'm the woman who exposed a multi-million-dollar fraud scheme on live television, watched my husband get handcuffed, and reclaimed what was rightfully mine. Let me take you back to where it all began. That Tuesday morning started like any other, green tea on the terrace, checking emails before my 9 a.m. conference call. Jack, my husband of 15 years and business partner, had already left for a breakfast meeting with investors. We shared everything, email passwords, bank accounts, even our dreams. That level of trust is what made us successful, or so I thought. I noticed an urgent email marked confidential, asset transfer confirmation in our shared inbox. Thinking it was about our new San Diego property, I opened it without hesitation. My blood ran cold as I read the details. $2. $8 million transferred to an offshore account under the name Rita Ventures. The email trail showed Jack's approval for 6 similar transfers over the past 4 months.
Rita.
We didn't have any projects or partners named Rita. We certainly didn't have business requiring secret offshore transfers. The email mentioned finalizing the separation of assets as discussed and preparing for the board's announcement next week. Script part separator . I called our financial controller, Marcus, immediately. Sarah, I can't discuss this. Jack said it was strictly confidential. His voice was strained, uncomfortable. I'm your boss too, Marcus. I need answers now. After a pause, he sighed. All I know is that Jack said these transfers were preparing for a company restructuring. He made me sign an NDA.
Anda.
In our own company? My stomach nodded as I hung up. Jack and I had built Monroe boutique hotels from nothing. 15 years of work, sacrifice, and passion. We started with one rundown property in Santa Barbara that we renovated ourselves, sleeping on air mattresses, painting until midnight. Now we had 12 luxury properties, 5 stars across the board, and celebrity guests who returned year after year. I paced our penthouse, my mind racing. The board announcement. The secret transfers. The name Rita.
None of it made sense.
Until it suddenly did. I logged into our personal bank account and saw more transfers, smaller amounts but consistent, to something called RL Enterprises. I Googled the name and found nothing, but those initials nagged at me.
Retail?
I checked Jack's desk calendar and saw lunch meetings marked only with RL going back months. When Jack came home that night, I was waiting. He kissed me casually, poured himself a scotch, and started talking about his day as if nothing was wrong. Who's Rita? I asked calmly. The glass paused halfway to his lips. Just for a second, but long enough.
What? Rita.
The woman you've transferred nearly $3 million to. He laughed, but it didn't reach his eyes. Honey, that's a development project. The Riviera landmark. RL. It's that property in Mexico I told you about. You never mentioned Mexico. I stood my ground. And why is our company money going into offshore accounts? Tax purposes. It's completely legitimate. He put his glass down. Sarah, is this why you're upset? You should have just asked me. He approached, hands outstretched. I stepped back. Then why is Marcus under an NDA? Why is there a board announcement next week I don't know about? His face changed then, the mask slipping. His eyes hardened. You weren't supposed to see those emails.
Clearly.
My voice shook. What's going on, Jack? He sat down, suddenly looking tired. It's complicated, Sarah. The company needs restructuring. We're taking on new investors. Things are changing. Things like me? I asked quietly. His silence was my answer. Script part separator equals. His silence told me everything I needed to know. 15 years of marriage, and Jack couldn't even look me in the eye. I've built this company too, I said, my voice growing stronger with each word. Every design choice, every staff hire, every guest experience, that was me. You can't just push me out. Jack finally met my gaze. Sarah, be reasonable. The board votes next Tuesday. I'm offering you a very generous settlement. The board? Our board? The same people who came to our anniversary party last month? He shrugged. Business is business. They agree the company needs a singular vision moving forward. Your vision, I said flatly. Look, you can keep the penthouse. I'll be moving out this weekend. The room started spinning.
This weekend?
You've planned this for months, and I get 4 days' notice? I thought it would be easier this way, he said, checking his watch. I have a call in 10 minutes. We can discuss details tomorrow with the lawyers. Lawyers, plural? You mean my lawyer too? Jack had the decency to look uncomfortable. Richard Jenkins will represent both of us. He's always handled our legal matters. I laughed bitterly. Richard is your golf buddy. You really think I'd let him handle my side of this? Sarah, don't make this difficult. Difficult? My voice rose. You're stealing my company and sleeping with someone named Rita, but I'm making things difficult? His face flushed. Nobody said anything about. Don't. I held up my hand. Just don't. I want you out tonight. Not this weekend. Tonight. That's not practical, he said, his tone condescending. Besides, this is still legally my home too. I grabbed my phone. Fine. Then I'll leave. But this isn't over, Jack. Not by a long shot. I packed a small bag, my hands shaking so badly I could barely zip it closed. As I headed for the door, Jack called after me. Sarah, where are you going? Be reasonable. I turned back. You know what's funny? I actually thought we were happy. Script part separator equals. I slammed the door behind me and leaned against the wall, my legs threatening to buckle. 15 years of marriage, 12 hotels, countless sacrifices, all erased in one conversation. My sister Emma answered on the first ring. I'll be there in 20 minutes, she said when I could barely get the words out through my tears. I wandered the lobby of our flagship hotel, the Monroe Beverly Hills, while waiting. Staff greeted me warmly, completely unaware their world was about to implode too. These people depended on me. On us. What would happen to them after the restructuring? Emma found me sitting on a bench in the garden, staring at nothing. That lying, cheating snake, she fumed after I explained everything. You need a lawyer, Sarah. A shark. Someone who will tear him apart. I need evidence first, I said, my mind clearing. I need to know exactly what he's planning. Emma squeezed my hand. You're staying with me tonight.
Tomorrow we fight back.
I barely slept. By 7 a.m., I was making calls. The first was to Thomas Avery, a corporate attorney known for handling messy business divorces. His office agreed to see me immediately. Tom Avery was nothing like I expected. Instead of the aggressive shark Emma recommended, he was calm, methodical, and listened without interrupting as I laid out what I knew. Mrs. Monroe. Sarah, please. Sarah, he said, adjusting his glasses. What your husband is attempting is called corporate freeze-out. It's unethical but unfortunately common. Before we proceed, I need to know, do you want money or do you want your company? My company, I said without hesitation. Those hotels are my life's work. He nodded. Then we need to move quickly and quietly. The board meeting is when? Tuesday. 5 days. His expression was grave. We don't have much time. Script part separator equals. What do we do first? I asked, leaning forward. Before Thomas could answer, my phone buzzed with a text from Jack. Where are you? Lawyers waiting at house. Need to sign papers today. I showed Thomas the message. Don't respond, he advised. And don't sign anything. First, we need information. Who's on your board? 6 people including Jack and me. There's Robert Chen, who is our first investor. Martin and Diana Wells, a married couple who joined 5 years ago. And Gregory Thompson, our CFO. Any loyalties I should know about? Robert might be on my side. He's known me since before Jack. Gregory was my hire. The Wells couple, they're unpredictable. Thomas nodded thoughtfully. Let's assume they're all compromised for now. I need you to get access to board communications without alerting Jack or your CFO.
How?
Do you have an assistant with system access? Melanie. She's been with me for 3 years. Call her. Have her come to my office with her laptop. Tell her it's confidential, but not illegal. If she's loyal, we may have our way in. I called Melanie, who arrived within the hour, confused but willing to help. Thomas explained what we needed. Melanie's eyes widened. Mr. Monroe has been scheduling secret board calls without you? That's not right. No, it's not, I agreed. Can you help us? She opened her laptop. I have access to the shared calendar and email system. What exactly are we looking for? Board meeting minutes, emails about restructuring, anything mentioning Rita or RL Enterprises, Thomas said. Melanie's fingers flew across the keyboard.
I think I found something.
There are calendar invites for Project Monarch meetings, directors only, no assistants allowed. Started about 4 months ago. Thomas raised an eyebrow. Monarch as in butterfly, or as in king. I felt sick. The timing matched the first transfer exactly. 4 months ago. What else did Jack say was happening at that time? The Mexico property. The Riviera landmark, I murmured. RL. Melanie gasped, staring at her screen. Mrs. Monroe, there's an email thread. Subject line. Monarch documentation for Tuesday. It has attachments. Let me see, I demanded. The email contained board resolutions already drafted for Tuesday's meeting. The language was clinical, corporate, and devastating. The board would vote to remove me as co-CEO due to erratic business decisions and concerning personal behavior. Jack would assume sole control. A separation agreement was attached, offering me a cash settlement in exchange for my shares. But the bombshell was in the second attachment, incorporation papers for a new entity called Monarch Luxury Hotels, with Rita Larson listed as co-founder alongside Jack Monroe. Script part separator . The name hit me like a physical blow. Rita Larson, Jack's college girlfriend. The woman he dated before me, who supposedly moved to Europe after they broke up. I remember Jack mentioning they'd reconnected on social media last year. Just catching up with an old friend, he'd said casually. Do you know her? Thomas asked, watching my face. Yes, I whispered. His ex. The one who got away, according to his college friends. Thomas's expression darkened. This isn't just business. He's planning to replace you in every sense. The transfers, I realized. They weren't for a Mexican property. He's been funding their new company with our money. Our money, Thomas corrected. Monroe Boutique Hotels money. That's called embezzlement. Melanie looked terrified. Mrs. Monroe, there's more. There's a draft press release dated for next Wednesday. It announces your voluntary resignation due to health concerns. I snatched the laptop. There it was in black and white. Sarah Monroe steps down to address personal health issues. Jack Monroe assumes leadership with new strategic partner. Health issues? I'm the healthiest person I know. I slammed the laptop closed. He's going to claim I'm mentally unstable. Thomas was already making notes. We need documentation of your mental fitness. Your regular doctor, today if possible. And we need to secure your position with at least 2 board members before Tuesday.
My phone buzzed again.
Jack, Sarah, this is childish.
Come home now.
Everything's prepared for signing. He's getting desperate, Thomas observed. That's good for us. What do I do? I asked. Go home, Thomas said calmly. What?
No.
Go home, but don't sign anything. Act confused, maybe a little emotional. Make him think you're breaking down exactly as he's planned. Meanwhile, we'll be building our case. Script part separator . I took a deep breath. You want me to play into his trap? Thomas nodded. The best defense is letting your opponent think their offense is working. Go home, cry, ask questions, but understand nothing. Meanwhile, we'll be tracking those money transfers. I didn't like it, but I saw the strategy. Jack expected me to be devastated, and I was, but he also expected me to be helpless. That's where he'd miscalculated. When I returned to our penthouse, Jack was waiting with a middle-aged man in an expensive suit. Sarah, thank God. He rushed forward as if concerned. This is Richard Jenkins. We've been worried. I forced my eyes to well up. I don't understand what's happening, Jack. You're scaring me. Jenkins stepped forward with a practiced smile. Mrs. Monroe, we just need your signature on these standard documents. Then you can rest.
Rest?
I made my voice quaver. Am I sick? Jack and Jenkins exchanged glances. No, Jack said quickly. Just stressed. The company restructuring is complex, but the settlement is very generous. I pretended to wipe tears. Settlement? For what? For your shares, Jenkins said smoothly, sliding papers toward me. Full financial independence. Very favorable terms. I flipped through the document, purposely slow, letting tears fall on the pages. Just one problem, Richard. Yes, he prompted. I'm not signing anything without reading it first. And I'd like my doctor to check me out. Since everyone seems so concerned about my health. Jack's jaw tightened. Sarah, that's unnecessary. Actually, I called Dr. Phillips already, I interrupted. She can see me this afternoon. Isn't that great? The flash of panic on Jack's face was worth everything. Script part separator equals. Jack recovered quickly. Actually, I can take you to Dr. Phillips. We can discuss the paperwork after. We both knew that wasn't happening. He wanted to control the narrative with my doctor too. I'd rather go alone, I said, clutching my purse. I need some space to process everything. Richard Jenkins cleared his throat. Perhaps we should reschedule for tomorrow when Mrs. Monroe is feeling more composed. Jack shot him a look but nodded stiffly. Fine. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. And Sarah? He took my arm, steering me away from Jenkins. Let's keep our private matters private. No need to worry your sister or friends with business details. Translation: don't tell anyone what I'm doing. I nodded meekly. Of course, Jack. I wouldn't want to embarrass us. As soon as I left, I called Thomas from the car. He's worried about my doctor, I reported. And he specifically warned me not to talk to Emma or friends.
Perfect, Thomas said.
He's nervous. Now, I've been researching Rita Larson. She's not just an ex-girlfriend. She's a hospitality investor who's been involved in 3 similar takeovers in the past decade. My hands gripped the steering wheel. She's done this before? Yes, but never with this much money at stake. Your company is worth what? Close to $100 million? Closer to $120 million at last valuation. That's why they need you removed completely. The share transfer document. Did you see a valuation? They're offering me $18 million for my 50% stake, I said, recalling the figure. Thomas whistled. So they're stealing approximately $42 million from you, plus whatever they've already transferred offshore. Script part separator equals. I arrived at Dr. Phillips' office determined to secure medical documentation of my perfectly sound mental health. She'd been my physician for 8 years and knew me well. Sarah, she greeted me warmly. Your assistant said it was urgent. What's going on? I explained the situation as calmly as possible. Her expression grew, increasingly concerned. Let me get this straight, she said when I finished. Your husband is trying to claim you're mentally unfit to run your company? That's what it looks like, I confirmed. I need documentation proving I'm completely stable. Dr. Phillips typed furiously. I'm documenting this visit in detail. This is textbook gaslighting, Sarah.
I've known you for years.
You're one of my most level-headed patients. She performed a thorough examination, then printed several pages. This is my professional assessment of your mental and physical health, dated today. Both are excellent. I've also included notes from your last 5 annual physicals showing consistent good health. Thank you, I said, feeling a wave of relief. Sarah, she added seriously, What your husband is doing isn't just unethical, it's abusive. Please be careful. I nodded, tucking the papers into my purse. As I left her office, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Monroe BH Kitchen, 7 p.m. tonight.
Need to talk.
Important info about Tuesday.
G.
Gregory Thompson, our CFO? I texted Thomas immediately about the mysterious message.
Go, he advised.
Public place, your own hotel. But be cautious. Could be helpful, could be a trap. I spent the next few hours reviewing documents Melanie had sent from the company servers. Financial reports showed concerning patterns, assets being undervalued, expenses inflated at properties I managed directly. They were building a paper trail to support my erratic business decisions. At 6:55 p.m., I took the staff elevator to the kitchen of our Beverly Hills property. Gregory was waiting, nervously checking his watch. Sarah, he said, visibly relieved. Thank God. We don't have much time. Script part separator ===. I checked we were alone. What's going on, Gregory? He glanced over his shoulder. I've been trying to figure out how to warn you. Jack's been falsifying financial reports for months. The ones you see aren't the real ones. My stomach dropped. What do you mean? Gregory pulled out a flash drive. This contains the actual numbers versus what's been presented to you and the board. He's been systematically making your properties look like they're underperforming while his are breaking records. I took the drive, my hand trembling. You have proof he's manipulating data? I'm the CFO, Sarah. I see everything. He pulled me aside 3 months ago, said the company needed restructuring, that you were distracted, making emotional decisions. I didn't agree, but he's CEO and I signed off on the reports. Why help me now? He looked ashamed. Because yesterday I saw the full plan. They're not just pushing you out, they're selling off your properties, firing your staff, and blaming the necessary cuts on your mismanagement. People who've been loyal to you for years will lose everything. Including you? I asked. He nodded grimly. I'm on the replacement list too. Once they've used me to transition the financials, I'm gone. Rita's bringing in her own team. What about the board? Robert's the only one asking questions. The Wells couple is fully on board. Jack promised them exclusive management contracts for their hotel chain once he takes over. I'm sorry, Sarah. I should have come to you sooner. Do you have documentation of these deals? Emails? Meeting notes? Everything's on that drive. But there's something else. Gregory's voice dropped. There's a live television interview scheduled for Wednesday morning on Business Today. Jack's announcing the restructuring and your departure. A public announcement about my mental breakdown? On national television? That's the nail in the coffin. Once it's public, there's no going back. Your reputation would be destroyed. Script part separator ===. Gregory checked his watch nervously. I should go. If Jack finds out I'm helping you. Thank you, I said, grasping his arm. This could change everything. After he left, I called Thomas immediately. You won't believe what just happened. I met him at his office within the hour. He plugged in the flash drive, his expression growing darker as he scrolled through the files. This is damning evidence, he said finally. Financial fraud, fabricated reports, secret agreements with board members. But we still have a problem. What's that? Tuesday's vote. Even with this evidence, we need to stop that board meeting or secure enough votes to block Jack. I paced the office. Robert might side with me if he sees this. That's still only 2 votes against 4. Thomas tapped his pen thoughtfully. What if we don't try to win the vote? What do you mean? What if we let them have their meeting, but change the battlefield entirely? My phone buzzed with a text from Jack. Where are you? Coming home tonight? I showed Thomas, who nodded. Go home. Act defeated. But first, call Emma and tell her to come to my office tomorrow morning. I have an idea, but we'll need help. That night at the penthouse, I played my part perfectly. I cried. I pleaded for Jack to explain what was happening. I pretended to take a sleeping pill, actually a vitamin, and staggered to bed early. Once alone, I took photos of everything in Jack's home office. His calendar, business cards, notes, anything that might help. I found a handwritten note with Tuesday's agenda and Wednesday's TV appearance details. Business today, 8 a.m. Rita confirmed as surprise guest. The next morning, I told Jack I was getting breakfast with Emma to process everything. Instead, we went straight to Thomas's office. Emma was furious after hearing the full story. That snake. I'll destroy him. We may not have to, Thomas said calmly. I've been working on a plan all night. It's risky, but if it works. He laid out his strategy, and my eyes widened with each detail. It was bold. Possibly career-ending for Jack. Definitely the last thing he'd expect. Can we pull this off in 3 days? I asked. Thomas smiled slightly. With the right connections, yes. As it happens, I know the executive producer of Business Today. We were law school classmates. Script part separator equals. Emma looked at me, her eyes fierce with protective anger. My sister, always ready to go to war for me. We're really doing this? On live television? I nodded slowly. He wants to destroy me publicly. Seems fitting to return the favor. Thomas handed me a folder. We'll need signatures from you on these legal documents immediately. This authorizes me to contact the SEC with evidence of financial fraud. My hand hesitated over the paper. This will destroy the company too. Not necessarily, Thomas countered. With proper crisis management, the hotels can survive. Your reputation can be salvaged as the whistleblower who uncovered corruption. I signed the papers. Thomas then outlined the next 72 hours in meticulous detail. Every call, every meeting, every contingency had its place in his plan. First, I'll meet privately with Robertson, Thomas said. With his support and Gregory's evidence, we'll have enough to interest the SEC. Meanwhile, Emma will help you prepare for Wednesday. Emma squeezed my hand. I'll coach you through every possible scenario. We used to do those improv classes, remember? This is just acting, with higher stakes. Thomas's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and smiled slightly. My contact at Business Today is interested. Very interested. What about Jack? I asked. Won't he suspect something if I'm suddenly cooperative? That's exactly what we need, Thomas explained. You're going to call him right now and tell him you've reconsidered. You'll sign the papers tomorrow after reviewing them once more with your own lawyer, me. You want me to bring you to the meeting? Jack will never agree. Thomas's eyes glinted. He will when you tell him you're too emotionally fragile to understand legal documents alone. Play into his perception of you as unstable. It's our greatest advantage right now. Script part separator equals. I called Jack immediately. I've been thinking, I said, my voice deliberately fragile, about the papers and everything. I'll sign tomorrow. Sarah, that's wonderful, Jack said, relief evident in his voice. I knew you'd see reason. But I need my own lawyer to explain things. I'm so confused about all the terminology. We have Richard. No, I said quickly. I found someone who specializes in helping women in emotional situations. His name is Thomas Avery. There was a pause. I've never heard of him. He came highly recommended for cases like mine, I said, injecting a hint of helplessness into my voice. Please, Jack. I need this to feel comfortable.
He sighed. Fine.
Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Bring your lawyer. When I hung up, Thomas nodded approvingly.
Perfect.
Now he thinks he's getting exactly what he wants. Sunday passed in a whirlwind of preparation. Emma drilled me on potential questions and scenarios for the television appearance. Thomas arranged a meeting with Robertson at his home. Robert confirmed what we suspected, Thomas reported afterwards. He's been questioning Jack's numbers for weeks. He's with us, but cautiously. He doesn't want to go down with the ship. Monday morning arrived, and I dressed carefully in a conservative suit, looking exactly like a woman prepared to sign away her life's work. When Thomas and I entered our penthouse, Jack and Richard Jenkins were waiting with champagne. Celebration seems premature, Thomas commented dryly. Jack sized Thomas up, clearly underestimating the calm, scholarly-looking attorney. Just being optimistic about an amicable resolution. Let's see these documents, Thomas said, extending his hand. Script part separator equals. Jenkins handed over the thick stack of papers, and Thomas began reviewing them methodically, occasionally asking pointed questions that made Jenkins shift uncomfortably. I watched Jack, noting how he kept checking his watch. He was anxious to wrap this up, probably had a meeting with Rita waiting. After an excruciating hour of legal back and forth, Thomas looked up. My client will need until tomorrow to consider these terms. Jack's face reddened. That wasn't our agreement, Sarah. I feigned distress. I'm sorry, Jack. It's just so much to process. Thomas closed his briefcase. Unless you'd prefer to renegotiate more favorable terms? These valuations seem artificially low. Jenkins jumped in. The valuations are market standard. We've been more than generous. We'll be in touch tomorrow, Thomas said firmly, guiding me toward the door. Sarah, Jack called after me. The board meets at 2 p.m. I need your answer before then. Once in the car, Thomas smiled. Phase 1 complete. He's confident but rushing. That's when mistakes happen. Tuesday morning, I awoke with a strange calm. Today was the day everything would change one way or another. At noon, I called Jack. I'll sign, I told him. Meet me at the Beverly Hills property at 1:30. Not at the house. Please, Jack. One last time in the hotel we built together. He agreed reluctantly, unaware that cameras were already being positioned in the hotel's conference room. Thomas's friend at business today had arranged everything under the guise of pre-recording Jack's Wednesday interview. As I stood in the empty conference room waiting, I touched the microphone hidden beneath my blouse. In an hour, my husband would walk through that door expecting to witness my surrender. Instead, he'd find himself center stage in a drama of his own making, with an audience he never anticipated. Script part separator . The lights were set. The cameras hidden. My heart pounded as I heard Jack's footsteps approaching the door. This was it. The final act in our drama, and for once, I was writing the script. Jack strode into the conference room with a confident smile, legal folder tucked under his arm. He was wearing his power suit, the charcoal gray one he saved for closing major deals. Richard Jenkins followed 2 steps behind, looking every bit the corporate attorney ready to wrap up a routine transaction. Sarah, Jack nodded, setting his folder on the table. I appreciate you being reasonable about this. It's best for everyone. I managed a small smile. I just want to understand everything before I sign. Can you walk me through it one more time? Jack exchanged a glance with Jenkins, who nodded reassuringly. It's straightforward, Jack began, opening the folder. You'll receive $18 million for your shares. You retain the penthouse and your personal investments. In return, you step away from Monroe Boutique Hotels completely. No board seat, no advisory role. And the announcement about my health issues? I asked quietly. A simple statement citing personal reasons for your departure. Discreet, respectful. I nodded slowly.
And Rita Larson?
What's her role in all this? Jack froze, his pen hovering above the papers. Rita is a strategic investor. I don't see how that's relevant to our agreement. Strategic investor, I repeated. Is that what they call it these days? The conference room door opened, and Thomas walked in with 2 people Jack didn't recognize. One carried a small briefcase, the other a leather portfolio. What's this? Jack demanded, standing up. We agreed. I believe Sarah agreed to meet you here at 1:30, Thomas said smoothly. She never specified it would be just the 2 of you. Jenkins rose to his feet. This is inappropriate. We're in the middle of a confidential settlement. Actually, I said, finding my voice growing stronger, we're in the middle of exposing a fraud scheme. Jack, I'd like you to meet Special Agent Caroline Weber from the Securities and Exchange Commission, and this is Michael Reynolds, executive producer of Business Today. Jack's face drained of color. What the hell is going on? The hidden door at the back of the conference room opened, and a camera crew entered, led by a polished woman in a red blazer. Jack Monroe? She extended her hand. Diane Foster, Business Today. I believe we're scheduled for an interview tomorrow, but we thought, why wait? Jack backed away from her outstretched hand. There must be some mistake. The interview isn't until. Until after you forced your wife out and announced her mental breakdown on national television? Thomas finished for him. We decided to accelerate the timeline. Cameras were now positioned around the room, lights brightening the space. Jenkins whispered urgently in Jack's ear, but Jack waved him off. "Sarah, stop this right now," Jack hissed. "You have no idea what you're doing." I stepped forward, finding a strength I didn't know I possessed. "Actually, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm protecting what's mine." Agent Weber opened her briefcase. "Mr. Monroe, we have documented evidence of financial fraud, embezzlement, and corporate theft totaling approximately $14.7 million diverted from Monroe boutique hotels to offshore accounts." "This is absurd," Jack sputtered. "Those transfers were authorized business expenses." "For your new company with Rita Larson?" I asked. "The one you plan to announce after pushing me out?" Diane Foster signaled to her cameraman. "We're rolling in 3, 2. She pointed silently. "Today on Business Today, an exclusive breaking story." She began smoothly. "Behind the glamorous facade of Monroe boutique hotels, a tale of betrayal, fraud, and corporate espionage unfolds in real time." Jack lunged for the camera. "Turn that off. This is private." 2 security guards I'd positioned earlier stepped forward, blocking his path. "Mr. Monroe," Agent Weber said calmly, "I suggest you sit down. We have a federal warrant to seize financial records and electronic devices related to Monroe boutique hotels and Monarch luxury resorts." The blood drained from Jack's face. "You can't prove anything." "Actually," I said, pulling Gregory's flash drive from my pocket, "we can prove everything." Thomas handed Diane Foster a document. "This details how Mr. Monroe falsified financial reports, diverted company funds, and conspired with board members to orchestrate a hostile takeover."